It's 7 o'clock-ish on Monday the 25th of July, 2016. Welcome the Select Board for the Town of Jamaica. The first order of business is to thank Andy for filling in for me last week, or last session. Thank you very much. Now I have a standard to which to adhere.
Please, Uber long.
Conciseness.
You did a good job. You did a good job.
No, I watched it on video. Yeah. In fact, it just lets you run along. First thing we want to do on the minutes, on the agenda for today is ask if there's any other additions to the agenda. And there is one, oddly enough. So add for number 8, if you would, those of you keeping track at home, the RFP for the Castle Hill Road. We've been some movement on replacing the bridge at Castle Hill, and Terry has prepared an RFP. We need to just quickly discuss that at the end. So let's start with an approval of the minutes of July 11th. We'll yield to people who are actually here.
I've got a couple of very minor things. On the motion on the second page, to enter executive session, it says for personnel issues. You can only go into executive session for one issue. So instead of saying for personnel issues plural, I would say for a personnel issue.
You can only do one at a time?
Yeah.
So we'll
The next motion, I would again change for instead of personnel issue, make it a personnel issue.
Yeah, because we came out and went back in it.
Correct. For a different personnel issue.
And while we're on that, oh, never mind. I'll bring it
Any other additions, deletions, corrections to the minutes of the July 11th? Hearing none, I'd entertain your motion to accept them.
So moved.
Second.
So the minutes for the 11th of July will be accepted as amended. Very good. All right, moving on. The next item. We'll approve the time sheets for the town offices, listers, highway, transfer station. As usual, we do this at the end of the session. And we will also sign the select board orders. For number 4 is now time for public concerns. And I would ask if there's any public who are concerned. Or any concerns of the public. Or concerned public in general. I have a hand up, yes. And please state your name for the camera, please.
My name is Andrew LaValle, and I came last session to inquire about a speed limit sign for Goodeville Road. There's still no sign up, so I'm just gonna keep coming until there's a sign up.
You know anything about the orders and signs?
I don't know. He said he had them in stock. I'll ask Keith whether he has.
Okay.
We traditionally have Keith come in on our first meeting every month, as opposed to our second meeting. So the best time to come if you want to talk about a road issue would be on the first meeting.
Didn't I do that last time?
That's correct.
He was here, right?
Yeah.
Right, but unfortunately, we can't ask Keith at this moment
Right.
what the status is. What I did find out though is that we do, as you know, we do have a speed ordinance in our town for 35 miles an hour on a road. But until that gets posted at 35, the speed limit is 50. So we do have to get that posted at 35.
I would like to make a comment. I just happened to be out in your part of the world on a Sunday, and having been to the meeting, I was really taken aback by how fast the cars are driving on that road and around blind areas too. It was scary at some point, with the speed on some of the cars coming through.
Right.
So I think that you have a very legitimate concern.
Yeah, and just to reiterate, there's a lot of families on that road
Yeah.
with many kids who are biking it.
Do we talk to Keith in the morning?
Yeah.
If we don't have to order the signs, I know we were short-handed. Using your number theory, we're 33% below manning right now. And so I know they've been swamp covering things, but maybe we can slow that other one down enough to get the sign up.
Yeah, I'll give him a call.
Yeah.
Or talk to him.
Okay, thanks for bringing it to our attention.
Yeah.
At one point, and I'll ask you because I don't remember, there used to be a sign there saying, no exit or no through pass or dead end or something, when the bridge is out. Is that sign gone or is
I
that?
believe that sign is gone now.
Okay.
I think
So I remember I noticed that one day and I thought that's odd. No through traffic or something. That's when the bridge is out.
Yeah,
Yep.
right there by Larry Brown's.
Somebody asked me, actually, not you, but somebody from your neck of the woods asked me to leave that sign up.
I would prefer it as well, but.
And I don't think we can do that, but through benign neglect, they got a few more weeks out. All right, we'll look into that again tomorrow.
Thank you.
Any other public concerns? Yes, we have a public.
Yes, Oliver Wilson. For the record, I just want to follow up to an email I forwarded on to you guys. Hopefully you all received it. I think I sent it to all members of the board. From a gentleman named Paul Washington, who was a really interesting email to get out of the blue. But for the benefit of those who didn't receive this email, I received an email a week or 2 weeks ago from a gentleman named Paul Washington, who was part of a field team back in the 70s that was doing research looking at uranium deposits in this area. And he reached out to me because he felt it was really important that that the state and the local community be aware. And I told him, I said, there's general awareness that there are uranium deposits, but I wasn't quite sure how well they were mapped. So he obviously has some specific detail and feels that it would be important to make sure that this information is not lost with the passage of time, because in his words, there are only probably about 5 people still alive who are familiar with the details. So I did put him in. I contacted the the Secretary of Natural Resources, who has put me in touch with the state geologist, and I've connected Mr. Washington and the state geologist. She's going through her files right now to see what the state already has, and then she's going to have some follow-up conversation with Mr. Washington to see if there's some additional detail that could supplement the record that the state has. But anyway, you have his contact info as well, so if the town wants to do anything, but I just want to kind of bring you up to speed with respect to the state's response to that particular inquiry.
Is it safe for us to assume there's no public health issues? If this is just a historical logging of the information we're talking about?
Yeah, I think that was really what it is. I mean, and I'm not an expert in radiological health by any means, and this guy is a geologist by trade, but is obviously familiar with this. So he offered his opinion in that email, which is this is not a certainly. You would have to, I think in his words, you have to sit on one of these deposits for 40 hours to get the sort of the annual maximum, allowed or recommended dosage. So, but it's, something that, in his mind, people should be aware of. So if somebody decides that they're going to go up there with a backhoe and put in a foundation for a house, might be a good thing to know.
Or drinking water
Yeah.
as well, groundwater.
We, I don't know how many years ago, maybe 10 years ago or so, we had the radon test done because half of our basement is ledge.
Yeah.
And someone suggested that we have that, and we did not have any problem.
Yeah.
So, for what that's worth, which is the breakdown of uranium
Yeah.
goes into radon.
Yep. And I actually looked, the state does have some high-level maps online of all the uranium, not specific deposits, but generally speaking, areas where uranium is. And in Jamaica, the 2 areas that are generally mapped are Turkey Mountain roads, so you'd be wise to test for that, and College Hill area as well. But the maps, at least that the state has online, they're very high level. They don't pinpoint specific locations.
Thank you very much. Yeah, that was interesting. I'd always heard that there was some uranium, but I didn't know anything about it. So it's good for us to know what's happening, to know what's going on. I'm thankful to Mr. Washington to, I hope there wasn't a sad impetus for this, but like you said, people who were around doing that aren't around anymore.
At one point, they thought about mining it.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, his comment to me when he saw the email was that it's like a world-class deposit
Right.
Yeah.
here. And yeah, there was one of my predecessors, I'm not exactly sure who, was actually responsible for legislation that effectively prohibited the mining of uranium in Vermont as a direct result of some of the activity here, and I think up in Ludlow as well. There were some serious proposals to mine uranium.
If anyone is concerned about radon, you can obtain a radon test kit from the Vermont Department of Health or through your health officer. Yeah, I almost think it's free of charge, but don't hold me to that. And I could help someone get one of those if they were curious.
I think it's worthwhile doing it, because we don't know.
Yeah, that's a good point, thanks. Very good, thank you, sir. Any other public concerns? Failing that, we'll move into the agenda. We have a guest, I've got two guests, I'm not sure which one of you is primary in this one, to discuss the town plan, guests from the planning commission. And we've all been passed a copy of the town plan, and it is on to you. You got the floor.
Hi, state my name is Veda Bassett, chair of the planning commission. And, well, the time has come for us to renew our town plan. It expires after, in, November of 2017. And the grant is just becoming available to apply for getting money to update our town plan. And so by November of 2017, we want to have it, in place and running so there isn't a lapse. And I just wanted to, I'm sure you guys all know a lot about this already, but I just wanted to remind you of a few important, just quickly, a few reasons why we do have a town plan. Right now, our flood hazard area regulations that we've been talking about with Lou, the way they exist are because of zoning regulation, and I guess that's actually the only zoning regulation we have in town. But in order to have that, we have to have a town plan, and that enables us all to get flood insurance and many things. The second point is that having a town plan enables us to participate in the Act 250 proceedings, and it protects us from unwanted development, commercial, industrial activities, some kinds of maybe residential unwanted development in town. That we have to have a town plan in order to participate in that process. And the last thing is just that this is a guide for our town. It's a document that we get to write. It gives us power to do what we want to do. And it's written by us and for us. And I think like Oliver said before, when you really need, when you don't need it a lot, but when you need it, it's really important. So we are available and willing to update our town plan and go through that process. And Dave and I are, Dave actually is leading the project, and we're working on it together. And with your support, we'd like to move forward on that. And I gave you guys a copy of the town plan, and if you would please review it and look over and see, make some changes, see what it is that we'd like to, we'd like your input, and we'll come back again at some point and we'll talk about that after you've had some time to look over the town plan. But Dave's going to talk a little bit about the details of the grant and
Before you get into the grant, can I ask a quick question?
Mm-hmm.
Dovetailing on insurance. Is there anything in the plan about green?
About
Uranium?
what?
There is mention of those deposits.
Is there anything suggesting protection or lack of? I'm just curious, because when I read this, it didn't even click in my head that we had it in there.
Well, that would be
Something to look into.
something to look into and something to definitely
Sure.
include.
Well, this is something in there to change was
There's environmental.
Yeah. Well, especially if there's some legal action, historical action to block any development. One would hope there's sister legislation to protect the environment adjacent to the locations.
Yes.
It's just a thought. I'm sorry.
Yeah, that's great. I'll make a note of it.
You can thank all of us for that. Thanks, sir.
Actually, there's quite a history sitting right there. I was on the first time I was on the planning commission, you were the chair. And we did the plan, and then the one that is being outdated and now the two of you are doing, it's nice to see
Well,
new
let's-
generations taking
Regenerations.
over.
Yeah, luckily we don't have to start from scratch. There's already a beautiful document that we have to, now we just have to
Yeah.
update it and review it from there, but most
So
of
I
the
did
work
the
is
same
done.
thing when he was on the board.
Yeah. Thank you for
Nice
that.
to know. It's a lot of work,
So-
that we know.
What the town plan says about uranium is there is a significant uranium deposit in the vicinity of the Pinnacle. Previous attempts to extract uranium from this area resulted in state legislation requiring legislative approval for future uranium mining in the state. It should be noted that land uses in this area might result in public health hazards resulting from the possibility of exposure to high concentrations of radon.
So you guys are on top of it.
So then we have, it goes on,
Yeah.
the town has 5 different policies related to earth and mineral resources.
Yes, you're so good. Thank you. You didn't start to say something about the bond, about the grant.
Well, yeah, so we're gonna apply to the state for a municipal planning grant, which will enable us to hire the Winter Regional Commission to do the work that needs to be done to update the plan, basically. So to apply for that grant, we have to have a resolution passed by the select board. I have a copy of a previous one. We don't anticipate much changes, but this will give you some idea of what the resolution will look like. Because that previous is from 2015, but it's not going to be.
Do you have any idea how much you might be getting?
We're going to apply for $8,000.
8,000?
You can apply for more than that, but everything above $8,000, you have to match dollar for dollar. The town has to match.
Okay.
And in our conversations with the Wyndham Regional Commission, their ballpark estimate for the work is $7,000 to $8,000. Now, the town of Jamaica does, this is a competitive grant. The potential exists that we will not get the funding we need. The one benefit we have is we are working with flood hazard regulations and flood resiliency plans. So that will, you know, attract attention for those people looking at the grants, 'cause it's a current, you know, item on agendas across the state. So the fact that we are doing work on that should be in our favor. We do have, according to the town report, I think it's in the general fund, we have $9,600 earmarked for planning expenses. So in the event that we do not get a grant, the funds are available to move forward. Obviously, you guys would have to support that effort. Basically, you don't have to, even if we get a grant, the select board has to sign off on it. Someone from the town will act as grant administrator. Yeah, generally it's the town treasurer, it doesn't have to be, it can be any member of the select board. But basically what the administrator does is, you know, send in the invoices so the town can get reimbursed from the state. And then submit the final reports and all that sort of stuff.
It's interesting that it's this time of year that you're applying for the grant because we're celebrating the 5th year of the Irene
Oh,
in the
yeah,
end of
yeah.
August.
Oh, yeah.
It's supposed to be a party and stuff like that.
Yeah, there's gonna be a big event at the town hall.
Yeah.
Since you're
So
going down that
fits
road,
right
well, you
in.
know, there will be a big event at the town hall.
Yeah,
From what I've heard so far, there's gonna be some historical movies. Greg Joll is gonna present a historical perspective. There's gonna be a potluck, and then a tribute to the music of Merle Howard, starting around 6 o'clock.
yeah.
And an occasional luminary? Pardon me? A visit from a luminary?
But that really juxtaposition between you applying and looking at the hazard that we did have.
So, at our last planning commission meeting, we did pass a motion to recommend that the select board vote on a resolution to apply for and as soon as the grant application is behind the criteria from the state, they're a little bit behind. So as soon as all of that gets posted, we'll be back with an exact resolution for you guys to work on.
So maybe tonight we should make a resolution that the planning commission pursue the grant, as you're suggesting, and return to us with the actual grant for us to move on. Does that sound right?
Yeah.
Rather than entertain a motion, that sounded something like that.
That they would come back with a resolution.
Yeah, but they should, giving them permission to pursue that grant.
I move that we give the planning commission the go-ahead for pursuing a resolution and grant for the new town plan that's due in 2017, November 2017.
I mean, we're starting this early just because it takes a long
Oh,
time.
yes, it
I
does.
understand, makes perfectly good sense. Do I have a second? Second. Is there any other discussion? Hearing none, resolution to authorize you guys to go forward is there? Adopted. So then when you bring this back,
Did we vote?
I think so.
I think you
Did
just
you want us to
stated,
vote?
do we vote?
but we never said all in favor.
Oh, you guys, this is kind of an autopilot. Sorry about that. I was gone for 2 weeks. My brain was erased. All in favor, say aye. Any opposed? Hearing none. Okay, see, we knew it was later. I'm being retrained. 2 weeks vacation, I gotta be retrained. And when you get this wording, the treasurer is not listed in as one of the individual grant.
It doesn't have to be the treasurer.
No, I'm saying, but if it can be her, then if we can put it in here, I don't know if this is a locked-in format or if we can adjust it. We'll make it work regardless.
I don't know the answer to that question.
Well, we'll make it work regardless, because it's a good idea, we think it should be done.
It has to be done.
It's gotta be done.
You can do it. There's no choice.
That's why I wanna make real sure that we can.
You used right on top of that one.
Thank you very much, very much. Speaking of things that have pertaining to our illustrious treasurer, number 5, we have 2 5s, but we really mean the second 5. Approve and set the tax rate for 2016. Terry, would you like to speak to that at all, or we just jump to the numbers?
I might want to look at it, but the state sets the education numbers. I don't have anything to do with that. And the other numbers are based on what the grand list was, which there wasn't a whole lot of growth.
No. So the trap is that we are 2016 total resident tax rate is 1.8138. The total non-resident tax rate is 1.6979.
How do they compare with last year's?
The resident rate is up by, I believe, 4 cents. And the non-resident rate is about level with what it was last year.
So we need a resolution to approve, and then the select board will sign this today. Do I hear a resolution? Oh,
So just one comment or clarification. So the state does set the non-residential rate, but the residential rate is set by a formula that is driven by local decisions on school budgets. So the local voters essentially they don't directly set the tax rate, but they set the education spending, which then, through a formula, sets the tax rate.
Yeah, I got them in the mail.
Yeah,
I don't have to figure them out.
Yeah.
Okay. So I'd entertain a motion to approve and set the tax rate for 2016. Anyone care to motion?
I'll make that motion.
Thank you.
I'll second.
And we have a second. Any further discussion? Hearing none, all in favor say aye.
Aye.
All opposed, no. Hearing none, tax rate is set. We will sign this, we'll pass it on for all of us to sign it. The other signature does. Good.
By the way, thank you, you two. It's a lot of hard work.
Thank you very much.
I know that you're-
So we've just begun.
Yeah, we've just got started.
You're just getting
I
started.
think it's when we're done. I'm still here with it.
Good night.
Bye-bye.
Thank you.
Next on the agenda, we had a request from Vermont Challenge, which is a bike tour, to use the Valentine Ball Field in East Jamaica as a rest stop on the way through Jamaica. And what they're asking is space, basically, because they will provide their own tables, etc., and they can provide a certificate of insurance if needed. This is going to be August 11th through the 14th, and it is a benefit for, among other things, the food shelter and Grace Cottage. Do we have any thoughts on that?
I think it's a good idea.
I agree. What's the recreation committee use of that particular facility during that time frame? Do you know?
I have no idea.
I don't think anything.
I mean, I see the soccer goals are up. I don't know if they're.
I don't know, that's a good question. I think Little League is finished by
Yeah.
that time, right?
There's a guys softball league that use it Sunday afternoon, I believe, to practice. Not every Sunday though, so.
Do we have a contact person we can get in touch with and find out?
I think
Recreation
it's
committee.
Tom Holder is the,
Tom Tolbert?
he was, I'll have to look and see.
We should let them,
We should ask before.
make sure they coordinate with them.
Yeah.
Given the shortening time frame, how about if we, as a select board, offer our position pending?
Well, let's approve it based on the cooperation between the recreation committee.
Yeah. Yeah. So I would entertain a motion to approve this usage and pending discussion with the recreation.
So moved.
And do I have a second?
Second?
Hearing that, do we have any other further questions, comments?
Does anyone know how many bikes there'll be going through there?
You didn't ask
Like
me.
1,000 bikes?
We tried to get 100. I don't think so.
Well, Probably somewhere in between.
Is it a really big deal?
I don't know the answer to that.
I don't think he said, when I talked to him, he didn't say how many bikes,
Yeah.
but, I can send you the website, cause there's a sign up on there for,
So you may not know now. at this
Yeah.
point.
Right.
But,
they wanna also put a porta potty down there too.
Probably a good idea.
If there isn't one there, and I didn't
There
know.
wasn't one there last
I
time. I
don't
was there.
know. I haven't seen them.
But at their expense.
Yeah,
So we're happy to go along with giving you a little plot of ground upon which to plant his porta potty. So, we have a motion to that effect?
yeah.
Yeah, we do.
We
And
did.
second.
And a second.
Discussion.
Any other, we're in the discussion part, that's right. Any further
One
discussion?
more questions from me.
Oh, here we go.
Now we
All in
can-
favor, say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Hearing none, this is approved. And I'll try this phone number again tomorrow, and we'll keep trying until we get a hold of them. If you're watching, call us in. Phone number we've been calling, nobody answers. The next item is, we had, as all of you, most of you may remember, we've had a little difficulty with the Castle Hill Road Bridge. Difficulty only in that it's old and decrepit, and it scares people if you look underneath it. The last time we chatted, before I was gone, we thought this was gonna take a long time, because there was a historical review, environmental review, a whole lot of things that need to be done that we thought weren't going to take forever. They aren't, they're done. And so Terry has put together an RFP to send out. We'd like to get that moving as quickly as we can. We circulated a copy of the invitation to submit proposals for service. We'd like to put this and get it going so that we can get a pre-bid meeting on the 2nd of August and get working on this bridge. This is the one we have a grant for. Yeah, it's moving a lot faster. At one point, our last discussion was that we were worried it was gonna be running at the same time as the construction of the garage.
Right, that's why we wanted to get it this year.
Yeah, so it looks like it's moving quickly, and,
Did we get a grant?
We did, I thought we didn't get the grant.
Yeah, we did get the grant, no, we didn't get a grant for the paving, we did get a structures grant
Oh.
for this
Oh,
bridge.
we did?
yeah.
And, but we tried to go out to bid immediately, but she said, wait until you get the historical preservation and the,
Oh, yes, I remember
and the
that.
environmental,
And that came through quickly.
and that's done, so,
So, I don't know if we actually have to have, any kind of a motion for Terry to go ahead with this.
I think we actually made a motion to do it
Mhm.
before, so I think we've already done that, but now it's time to do it.
It's time to do it.
Do you have any time frame that might happen? Because we at the transfer station have to start making some plans.
Good point.
On the RFP, Terry has put in
The
that,
construction season, it doesn't, there's no date.
there's no date.
Yeah,
I
the
think
only
it's at
thing
the end of the
that we're
season.
limited to is the pier work, as we talked about, has to be done by, I think, October 1st,
Uh-huh.
which is when,
But
it has to be
I
out
also,
of the streams.
I think we can probably ask for an extension too, because we have
What
issues that we wouldn't normally have to get it done before the garage starts.
we put in here as well, the schedule is negotiable, the project will be completed by the close of the construction season 2016, and as mentioned, we may have to be built a little, but we'd like to get it done as quickly as possible. It's not a real complicated task.
Well, it depends on the precaster, and
True.
at the pre-bid meeting, we should be able to ask the contractors, they'll know how long it should be closed.
Yeah.
Because it may not require as long a closure as we think.
The only thing I can see is if we had to be out of the streams by October 1st, but the precast thing won't be ready until November 1st,
Right.
then we might be sitting there with an opening that we can't do anything with.
So I think we should reassure the people who live up there that we're not going to be gaping hole
No.
over the winter, so we'll make that work.
Yeah, but, so we should get on this as quickly as we can tomorrow, and,
Should
And
be,
if you could plan it to happen on Thursday and Friday, that would be nice. That's when the transfer station's
yeah.
closed. So just
Yeah.
those 2 days we'll give you.
well,
I didn't really tease it.
I know.
as we're looking right now,
we'll put the old one back on a Saturday.
Oh,
There we go. We're asking, at this point, we're looking for a mandatory pre-bid meeting on the 2nd of August.
And hopefully that's not too soon.
Right.
If I get this to the reformer tomorrow, it'll be in Thursday, but I will send it out by email tomorrow to all the contractors, so they'll have it 2 days ahead of the paper.
So we'll get on it as quickly as we can.
And then I only gave them less than a week to get the bid back.
We're looking at opening them on the 8th of August.
Yeah.
Opening bids.
That's good, that's a very, very aggressive schedule.
We can thank Terry.
Sharpen your pencil, it doesn't take long.
I always wait till the last minute anyways.
That pretty much exhausts the agenda. Let's see if there's any other business that comes before the board. Start with,
Yeah, two things, Terry will actually speak to this. We did have our bond issue last week, and Terry has a sheet that she has the actual bond rate, which we heard is the best bond rate the state has ever had. Would it be a combined rate, Terry? Do you have that sheet in front of you?
Yeah, you all should have it, I gave it to everybody.
Oh, okay.
2.732.
2.732, but as you can see, there are 20 different loans, each loan has a different rate. It's the combined rate of 2.73 that she's talking about. We did have one little kink. We thought we were going to be able to invest this money in a CD, but Terry talked to Andrew, the gentleman who does the investment. He said our $750,000 is not enough to invest in the CD, which is very peculiar.
Well, I'm gonna call about Giro. I didn't get a chance to tomorrow, but I will. I mean today, but I will tomorrow.
Seems like 750,000 is enough to
oh,
put on
yeah.
a CD.
I mean, you can put 2,000 in.
But for the moment, it's in a money market account.
thank you. Did you want to speak to the interest rates on that? You're done with the second?
Yeah,
Okay.
unless anybody has any questions.
Nope. That's good, thank you.
And my second issue is an issue that came up last week. If you recall, especially if you remember, if you look at the transfer station and you see that new road we put in the back, that's the material for that is a recycled asphalt material that we get from Sasasimo. Sasasimo doesn't keep this as part of their regular stuff, but when they have it, it's available to us. And we like it. It packs down real tight. I talked to Mark Pickering at the State V-Trans, and they love it. A lot of the towns love it, and so it's used all over, and there is no ban against using it. However, Keith did use it last week up on in the Cobb Brook area. There's a bridge that goes over Cobb Brook up by Hamilton Falls, and it's a rather steep incline after you go over the bridge, and some of that material had been working its way back down and over on top of the bridge, and then making its way through the little holes in the wood deck and getting into Cobb Brook. And so they contacted the state about it, and the state is going to pursue it as a violation of the Class A water protection. Keith and I talked about it this morning. Keith and the guys have gone up there and they're going to remove it all. And because of that, I think that the residents who are making the complaint are going to withdraw the complaint, or at least not pursue it anymore. But I wanted to let you know that was an issue, and hopefully will be rectified.
It's sad that happened. But it sounded like a good idea.
Yeah, and the stuff packs down real tight, but evidently this isn't a good spot to use that material, so we're going to pull it out. It's going to take the guys a couple of days. They worked out today, and they're going to work on it tomorrow.
How will they get it out of there?
Take our new excavator
Okay.
and just pull that material out. I told him to go deeper than he has to get it all out,
Yeah.
and then bring whatever gravel he has to.
So the state knows they're gonna be doing that.
They haven't contacted me yet. I presume the complaint, the person who talked to me about it, his name is Charlie Peck. You may have heard his name before. He's probably gonna contact the woman at the state who we talked to. He is a friend at the state who we've been talking to, who I happen to know as well. But, so I suspect that the state will contact me. But they're gonna contact me anyways to let me know about a grant that's available, perhaps that we can go up and do it correctly. So we're gonna pursue that.
You know, Cobb Brook came back as our one, A stream.
Class A stream, yeah.
Class A stream, of all of our different brooks. I think everybody else is a B, all the others.
Okay, thank you. So that's going well.
I think it's getting rectified, and I think to the satisfaction of the complainers.
So that's good.
Okay, super, thank you. The other question I had has to do with interest rates.
Oh, for the bond?
No, for the excavator.
Oh, okay, yeah, if you look at the minutes, when I made the motion last week, I thought, well, Terry and I had reviewed a proposal from the company, and my recollection of that was that it was either 0% interest rate for 2 years or 1% interest rate for 3 years. And evidently, it's not the program that we're gonna be using, we're using a different program, so it'll be a 1.99% interest rate.
Okay, I just wanted to get that on record.
Yeah.
Okay. Very good, thank you. Thanks, by the way, thanks for all that work you're doing. You're running yourself kind of ragged. Yeah.
Most of us do.
Okay, thank you, Judy.
Yes, I have a program that is being run by Esther Fishman at Londonderry Transfer Station, in which she's bringing down the NRRA and the USDA rural development. And what they want to do is to train the operators, transfer station operators, around the hazardous waste and how to handle it, waste management. So you had gotten that, and I printed this off, and I would like, it's on a Thursday for 2 hours, and there's going to be these people speaking about what to do. And one of the things that I have mentioned is starting to take some hazardous waste that we have not been doing, because we really need to get into doing that. I would like to have our 2 attendants, our Mark Clough, who is our regular one, and Roger Russo, who is our substitute, to go to this meeting. Because they are employees, and it's 2 hours, I would like the board to approve paying for those 2 hours while these men go for this training. I think it's something that's extremely important as we get into the hazardous waste and dealing with it. They really get the education that they need. So I would like to move that Mark Clough and Roger Russo attend this meeting on August the 11th for a 2-hour session where they will learn, and that the town will pay them 2 hours worth of their work, normal pay for going.
This is on August 11th, and that's a Thursday. Do you have someone who can watch the shop?
It's closed.
Oh, it's closed on Thursday.
Yeah.
Have a nice day.
Yeah.
Perfectly fine.
Yep.
So we have a motion on the floor. Do we have a second?
I prefer not to second it since it involves my brother, so
That's
if
true.
you wouldn't mind
Makes sense.
Sure.
seconding it.
I'll second it, and then I have a question. Is it like mandatory for them to go, or?
Yes.
I think they should be compensated for more than the 2 hours. It's gonna like ruin their whole day, but.
Where is it
Take out
located?
their Londonderry, at least one way travel.
This is the
Londonderry?
poster, huh? What was this?
Maybe we should think about compensating the mileage one way or
They
time.
don't get mileage. both ways.
They would? Okay.
Okay.
So it'd be the pump sit at their regular hourly rate plus mileage.
I didn't know they got mileage.
Yeah.
They don't
Do I
use
need
toll
to add
taxes.
that in the motion, or
No,
just?
not if they
it's
already
assumed?
said
It's usually automatic
It's
that
assumed.
if you go to training, you get mileage.
Okay, so I have a motion and a second, and any other conversation, discussions? Hearing none, all in favor say aye.
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 Any opposed? Hearing none,
I'll
that's,
abstain, I'll abstain.
and one abstention. We have 2 ayes and an abstention.
Thank you. So then
Aye and a
this
half.
is,
Which means you have to vote, because we have to have 3 people
For quorum.
approve.
Yeah.
Even if we don't have a tie?
Yeah.
I vote aye. We have 3 ayes and an abstention. Yeah, I think it's a good idea.
The second thing is I would like to go into executive session for a personnel matter.
Okay, let's make sure we get everything else covered, we'll do that last. Okay? Andy, do you have anything for us?
No, sir.
I think I've already thanked you for holding things together in my absence. That's enough of that. Your head's gonna get really big.
Welcome.
Wait till next year, you get nominated.
I'm setting you up for my retirement. In which case I have a motion to go to executive session.
I'll second it.
Have a second, do you have any further discussion? Hearing none at 7:45?
Would you like Terry to participate?
Yes,
And that needs to be part of the motion.
yes, oh, okay. Did I make that motion? Oh, then I would like Terry, our treasurer, to be a part of the executive session.
Fair enough, I vote yes.
Okay.
Not that it matters. All right, so we are adjourned for executive session. Thank you for everybody's, thank you for all, thank you.
Thank you.
Thanks for bringing that back, we'll get on
Thank
that.
you.
Here.
Will you have any decisions coming out of that?
Basically.
I'm not sure what we're
No.
going for.
We don't.